Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Notary Disrupt podcast. My name is Ryan Serrato, and I'll be your guys' host for the podcast in general. And I'm here joined with my co-host, who also happens to be my mother, but who also happens to be 2022's Loan Signing Agent of the Year, Irene Rueda.
Hi, my name is Irene Rueda, and I am the Arizona Loan Signing System Ambassador, and I am also the 2022 Notary Loan Signing Agent of the Year. So super excited when I got that award.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a big award.
Totally unexpected. I was actually shocked. So our mission is to disrupt the limiting beliefs that you may have about growing your notary business. So many people are shocked when they hear that I'm a notary and that I actually make six figures doing this. It's unbelievable to some, but we are here to disrupt that notion and let people know that, you know what, you can make a really good career out of being a notary.
Yeah, and I mean, I would want to say that this show will be a deep dive exploration into the notary industry, and the way we plan on doing that here on the show is through roundtable conversations between me and my mom. We're going to have guests that are real estate professionals, and those real estate professionals are, I mean, we're friends with a lot of them. We do the marketing, so hopefully our friends could come on. And then lastly, the last episode format that we'll have, listener Q&As. You guys, as the listeners, you guys will submit your questions and we'll answer them, just like how we do at our meetups. We'll be here for you guys. And so that will be like a Howard Stern call-in interviews type situation. But yeah, we're excited. We're excited to release this. It's been months and months of planning. And you know, we have a whole crew. You can't even see them, but we got Greg Olivas and Avery Alanis right here with us, our audio engineer and our camera crew, basically. So if you guys want to learn the mindset and marketing strategies that we use to create one of the largest and most successful signing services here in Arizona, please stick around for episode 1 of Notary Disrupt. All right, Mom, Irene Rueda. All right, so I would like to ask you, I want to get the audience to know you a little better, if they don't already know you. How did you get started as a notary? How did you get started?
So at the time, it was 2018, and I was working for the city of Glendale, and I was a notary already with them. And one day I was on Facebook, and somebody posted on there, "What's your side hustle?" So there were a lot of comments. So I just started reading through it because I've always liked, you know, the idea of making more money. And, you know, I had done a lot of the multi-level marketing stuff, which doesn't work at all. I just bought products and just gave the company money. But so I started reading through what people's side hustles were. And this one comment really, really stood out to me. And the comment was, "I'm a notary and I do loan signings and I make about $75 per signing, and each signing takes about an hour." I was like, what? I'm a notary. I'd never even heard of loan signing. And honestly, I thought it was a scam of some type. But even though I thought that, I started looking into it because it did intrigue me. And so once I started looking into it, this was back in 2018, I just started reading all these articles and YouTube videos that you could be a loan signing agent and make anywhere between $75 per signing to $200 per signing. And that just seemed right up my alley. I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So one of the courses that kept popping up for me was the loan signing system. And finally, in August of 2018, I decided to take that course. Well, the course was about $500. And at that time, even though me and my husband had really good jobs, I didn't have $500 to spare. So I asked my dad, who was an entrepreneur, and I asked him for the $500. I was like, "Dad, I want to do this." And he cut me a check right then and there. So I took the course in August, passed everything in September of 2018, but I did not take my very first signing until March of 2019. And the reason why is, I'm sure every new notary fear is that I was going to mess up. And you're messing with people's money, and I was like, I didn't know anybody who had did this, and I just wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing. So the loan signing system, they have a Facebook page specifically for loan signing system students, and every month, people are posting on there how much money that they're bringing in doing loan signing. And, people would post, oh, I made $2,500 this month. I made $10,000 this month. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I need that to be me. And I just kept seeing those, and I knew I wanted to be there. So finally, I decided to take my very first signing. That was in March of 2019, and let me tell you, it was scary. Yeah. I was nervous. I went to that signing, took me 2.5 hours, and I was sweating, and I was nervous. My voice was like cracking. Like I feel so bad for those signers. Whoever, if you're watching this, I am so sorry. But I got through it, and because of the course that I had taken, I didn't make any mistakes. I knew what I was doing, and after that, I was able to breathe. I'm like, okay. I sent it off to the company, and I even called them up that when they received it, like, hi, I just wanted to make sure that everything was good. They're like, no, everything's perfect. Whew, thank God. Yeah. Like, I was like a nervous wreck those few days until they got it, and they were able to tell me, no, everything's okay. And I was like, okay, perfect. So that March, I made about $700, and I was hooked.
What was your goal? Was
my
the goal like
was $500 a month.
That's insane.
Yeah, and that first month, I made over that. Wow. So come April, my dad, my hero, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and he was given about a year to live. So during that time, we were taking him to his doctor's appointments, and all of April we were taking him to doctor's appointments. We're in and out of the hospital, and he got chemotherapy. I think like 2 sessions of that, but throughout that, my dad kept encouraging me to do this loan signing, and he saw the passion that I had for it. And my dad was an entrepreneur, so I always wanted to follow in his footsteps, not necessarily doing what he did. He was an upholsterer, and I don't know how to do upholstery. So when I found this, I was like, okay, this is something I can do. This is something I can succeed in. And my dad encouraged me big time. So at the time, me and my husband, we were not married yet, and even though we had been together at that point, I think about 10 years, 11 years, something like that. We had always planned on getting married, but, life gets in the way. Yep. So he popped the question, finally, and asked me to marry him. He went and got my dad's permission, and, we planned a pretty quick wedding. So we planned our wedding for June 7th. So we're in April, so we literally had about 2 months to plan our wedding. And it was going to be a small wedding. Our main focus, like I told the photographer, I told everybody that the hall, everybody, our focus was going to be my dad. I want pictures of my dad. I want this, I want everything to be, even though it was my wedding, I wanted it to be about him. And the week before my wedding, my dad went into the hospital and for some complications that he was having. And on May 30th at 2 o'clock in the morning, we were told that he only had 24 hours to live. So me and my now husband, we did have our marriage certificate, and that we were planning on using the following week. Luckily, we had gone the week before to go get it. So when we were told that he only had 24 hours, I knew I wanted to get married in front of my dad. So we went home, showered really quick, just picked out some clothes. And, to this day, I wish I would have gotten my wedding dress, but I didn't. It's still hanging in my closet. But I just wore jeans and a shirt, and I just really wasn't thinking. And got to the hospital about 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, the person that was going to marry us, I waited until 6 o'clock that morning, and she happened to be the presiding judge for the city of Glendale, my boss. And so I waited until 6 in the morning to text her and ask her, Judge, can you come down here, this morning so you can marry us in front of my dad? She texts me back right away. She goes, I'm on my way. And she was there within an hour. We called all of our family at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So between 2 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock in the morning, everybody was arriving to the hospital because, like I said, he only had 24 hours to live. So that morning we got married in front of him and in front of 40-some people.
In one room.
In one room.
Latino families.
Yeah, that's a Latino family for you. And my judge married us. We have video. My dad was happy. He was excited to, he was alert, which was amazing. He hadn't fallen asleep yet. He ended up falling asleep around 5 o'clock that day in the afternoon. And didn't wake up again and passed away on May 31st. So a week before we were supposed to get married. So that was really, really tough. So in order to get my mind off of it, I threw myself into the loan signing world. I was doing about maybe 2 to 3 signings a night, doing signings on the weekend.
And you're still working.
Yeah, and I still had a full-time job.
Wow.
And I don't think I really saw my family much during that time, but, I was just trying to keep my mind off of everything. And it got to the point where I was making more money at my side hustle, being a loan signing agent, than I was at the city of Glendale. So in September, I quit my full-time job against everybody's wishes. They say this is what I've heard, when somebody passes away somebody that's close to you, that you should not do anything major in that year, like don't get a divorce, don't get a new job. Well, I got married, but but I did quit my job, and I know I wasn't in the right state of mind at that time. But honestly, I wasn't going to listen to anybody. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And one of the main reasons is because I wanted to make my dad proud. Like, I wanted him to know that, I am following in his footsteps. And one of the last things that he told me was he knew I was going to succeed in this business. Like, he saw it. It was kind of crazy. So I quit my job in September, and during that time, I was working for a lot of signing services. So in the notary industry, there's 2 ways to get signings. The first way is through signing services, which is now what I am. I have a national signing service, and the signing service literally just sends you a text message, and they ask, are you available for this signing? And you say yes or no. And that's the easiest way to get jobs. And you can sign up with a ton of different platforms that will send you those text messages. So the second way to get signings is through direct work. So you can get direct work from a title company, and they pay you the full fee. So when you're working for a signing service, you're getting a portion of that fee. So whatever the signing service wants to pay you, that's where you're making between $75 and maybe $125 per signing. With a title company, you're making anywhere between $125 to $200 per signing. So I started off with signing services, and one of the things that I kept seeing on the Facebook page for the loan signing system were notaries that were, making those $10K a month off of this, and I wanted to get there, but I knew I wasn't going to really get there with signing services. Here in Arizona, the average is about $75 per signing, and it would take me a lot to get to that $10K. So in December, I started weaning off of the signing services and getting more direct work, which for me was a little easier because I do speak Spanish, and Arizona has a huge bilingual community. So it was a lot easier for me to go into a title company and say, hey, I'm bilingual, I'm a notary, I can, do whatever signings. And they would give me a lot of their bilingual signings. So once they saw that I did a great job doing the bilingual signings, then they started giving me the English signings. So I was able to get a lot of business like that. And in March of 2020, I hit my first 10K, which was amazing.
Yeah, awesome.
My family went out and got me balloons and everything because I was working towards that 10K. Like, I wanted that.
Huge milestone, but not the last.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So I would like to interject as like the first tip, I guess. Like, we'll probably do like 4 or 5. As a first tip, what would you give getting to that 10K? What was the marketing strategy and mindset that you had going into each title service or title company and asking for their business? What was your mindset going in?
So my mindset was, like I've said, I was a part of the loan signing system. I am a part of the loan signing system community. And I do got to give a shout out to Bill Zuniga. He's out in San Diego.
Big shout out. Bill's awesome.
Bill's amazing. So I would talk to other notaries throughout the U.S., even though I had never met them. But the loan signing system is kind of like a family. Like, it's a big family. So I would talk to Bill. He started around the same time that I did, and he's one of the reasons why I went fully direct, because I saw that he was hitting those 10Ks. And so I called him up. I was like, Bill, like, what are you doing?
Like, what do you got to do?
What are you doing? And he's like, are you still working? And he just straight up asked me, are you still working for signing services? And I was like, yeah. He goes, stop.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to have any business. Like, I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
Like, and he goes, no, you need to stop. Because if you don't stop working for those signing services, you're never going to have the courage to go to direct.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, Bill. Okay. Okay. And I asked him, I was like, well, what are you doing? He goes, I stopped working for signing services. And you know what? I only had about 2 or 3 a day. He goes, but that's okay, because that made me want to push myself to go and get that business.
It's like not even a want anymore. You have to.
You have to, because you cut out the signing services. Yeah. So I listened to him and I cut out the signing services. Oh man, that was scary.
Oh, yeah,
because I would get a ton of notifications from my signing services like, hey, can you do this one? And even though I had no jobs, like, I would think, well, it's better than not having a job. But I listened to Bill, and I was like, no, you know what? No, I'm just going to go direct.
Would you say that that's the tip, is trusting yourself to actually market to the title companies, going direct, making that first step?
My tip is definitely, if you want to do this full time, is definitely go direct. That's how you're going to make the money. That's how you're going to make those connections. And when the market does slow down, like it's slowed down now, I'm not depending on signing services to give me work. I have my work. I have a ton of clients, and I'm still getting business. So I'm super blessed that I am direct.
Yeah.
And yeah, so and
thank
that's
you, Bill.
Huge shout out to Bill.
Recap on the first tip. When you know that you need to do something, it would be a disservice not to trust yourself to do that one thing. Is that what you would say the first tip was?
I would definitely have to say that's what the first tip would be, is believe in yourself and just know that you can do this. So I hit my first 10K in March of 2020, and also in March of 2020, COVID hit. And anybody that was a notary at that time, their business completely skyrocketed. And during that time, everybody and their mama became a notary. Like, literally everybody. And what was happening was there were so many notaries and not enough signing services. And all the title companies were closed down. So they were unable to do any of their signings. So they were using 100% mobile notaries on all of their transactions, which in this industry is completely unheard of. So anybody that wanted to get into this business got into it during that time. And we had so many notaries that did not take any courses and did not know what they were doing. So I would hear from my title companies like, oh my God, this notary messed up. And, it was signings that I couldn't take. And it was not only in Arizona, it was all throughout the U.S. And these notaries were just messing up left and right. Like my poor escrow officers, when I would go drop off my documents that I did for them, they would literally be like in tears because this notary messed up, and the signing service, that they use were just using brand spanking new notaries. They were not training them. They did not have any experience other than them just going to the Secretary of State and getting their commission and getting their stamp.
Bare minimum.
Yeah, exactly, the bare minimum. So unfortunately, those notaries that didn't take courses, like they had jobs. They had a ton of jobs because they were needed. And when I started my signing service, I knew that I wanted my signing service to be different. And as the loan signing system ambassador, it gave me the opportunity to see who had taken the course all throughout the U.S. So I have a huge network of amazing notaries, and all throughout, like I said, all throughout the U.S. And a lot of them do know who I am because I'm pretty active on the Arizona Facebook page. I'm the loan signing system page. I try to be active. And, when people know who you are, they want to do a great job for you. So whenever I look for a notary, I make sure that they're a loan signing system student. And on top of that, I also host meetups here in Arizona. And during COVID, I was doing them through Zoom. And then after Arizona opened up, and we were like one of the first states to be able to open up, I started having in-person meetups again. And I was able to see who from Arizona I wanted on my team. So my meetups were a great place for notaries to network and for my signing service to pick the best of the best. And that's why I started my signing service, because I do want to have that amazing group of notaries that are not going to mess up and that are going to make it to the signing. They're going to do a great job. They're going to impress the client. And a lot of the title companies weren't getting that.
Yeah, they love to hear that we talk to our notaries. We train them. We try to vet them.
And we're the only signing service in Arizona that is hosting meetups as big as we are. Yeah. I typically get a little over 100 notaries at every single one of my meetups. And to me, I absolutely love seeing the notaries that show up because they are taking time out of their Saturday to learn more about this business. And I think that's so amazing. Like, I wish I would have had something like that when I first started. I can't imagine how much more successful I would have been if I had had those type of meetups. And at my meetups, we go over marketing. I let them know, how I became successful. I have loan signing system students that are speaking about their experience.
What's a tip to gain the trust of a signing service?
Gaining the trust of a signing service is literally all about your presentation. So when I meet a new notary, or let's just say they call me, I listen to how they talk to me. I go and look at their profile. If they have a professional picture uploaded to the platform that I use, which is Signing Order, I look at all of that. And I look to see what their bio is. And if everything looks professional and they took the time to call me to see if I had work for them, I feel like, you know what, they're going to do a great job. Because they want this. Like, that's how I felt when I first started. Like, I was hungry for those signings. Like, I wanted those signings. And whenever I have a notary do that, I put myself in their shoes. Like, wow, they had the courage to call up a signing service and, ask for work. I know they're going to do a great job. And
And if they don't, they're willing to fix it immediately.
Yeah, and you know what? Mistakes do happen.
Yeah.
And one thing that I always tell my notaries is never leave a signing table without double checking your documents. And that's one thing that I did learn from the loan signing system. Mark Wills, drills that into us.
Yeah.
He tells us, look at our documents and make sure that everything's correct. You may have to look at it 2 or 3 times when you first start, but that's exactly what I would do. And to this day, I still don't leave a table without double checking everything.
Same here. And the weird thing is, I remember when I started, I was so, I wouldn't say nervous, but double checking in my head, it felt like, wow, these people might think that I don't know how to do my job correctly. I'm over here double checking. Never was that the case ever in my whole career as a signing agent. All of them were like, good thing you're double checking. It must have been a far drive. You wouldn't want to come back out. I'm like, actually, it was like an hour drive to get here. So, yeah, I'm just double checking. I don't want to come back out. And a joke I make is after they've seen that I double check when I'm leaving, they're like, hey, I'll see you later. And that's an automatic response. I'll be like, I hope I don't see you again, because that would mean there's an issue and that mean I didn't do my job right. But yeah, double checking is so key. Checking as you're signing, checking after, and then if you got time, check it in the car. You don't
Exactly.
And one of the things was also, if you do make a mistake, be willing to fix it immediately. Yep. Or as a signing service owner, have you ever seen like someone make a mistake and then fix it and be like, well, I'm not going to use that person again?
No.
Never.
No, actually quite the opposite. If I call up one of my notaries and let's just say and this has happened, it's the first time I've used them and they make a mistake and I call them up and they're like, hey, you made a mistake. Can you go get this fixed? And they tell me, oh my God, I'll go do it right now. I'm so sorry. I go, no, it's okay. Just go get it fixed. And it's not it's not that big of a deal.
That's a good review for them.
Yeah, and you know what? I do use them again. People learn from their mistakes. That's how you learn. Like, you learn from your mistakes. So I know if they made that mistake once, they're not going to make it again. Yeah. So not a big deal if you make a mistake. Just just fix it.
Yeah. Tip number 2, I would say, fix the mistake and be willing to go the extra mile, because
exactly.
You'll remember that.
Yep.
With the last tip, how important for new notaries is reputation?
Your reputation is everything in this business. So even as a new notary, your reputation will precede you. So if you are taking on a signing, make sure that you follow through on everything with that signing. So make sure that you're calling back the borrower or the signer within 2 hours of getting that signing. Make sure that if there are scan backs, that they are being scanned immediately after the signing. And the third one is making sure that you drop those documents in time in order to make like the FedEx or UPS cutoff. So those 3 little things say a lot about you as a notary. So if you're not calling back the signer, if you're not scanning back those documents and the signing service is having to call you, if you didn't drop the documents because you didn't have a FedEx label and didn't ask for a FedEx label because, you know what, it could have been just forgotten to be put into the package. Like, that happens. Those 3 little things, if you do that, that makes you an excellent notary. And for me, I will go and put a great review about you. And, the fact that you did a perfect job, and if you did make a mistake, that you fix it. So on my platform, which is Signing Order, I will put a really great review about you because I do want you to get those jobs. So signing service owners, we look at all those reviews. And sometimes there's a ton of reviews on a notary that are not good, and I won't use that notary because if there's a ton of bad reviews, I don't want to add on to the bad reviews.
Here's a question. How would it look as, signing service? You're looking through a huge database. If someone had 200 signings, let's say, and no reviews, no good, no bad, what pops into your head?
That they are a great notary.
That's a great notary, huh?
Yep.
They never made anyone mad. What's the most signings that you've seen with no reviews for that notary?
It would have to be...
Well, this is ridiculous. I remember it, but I forgot the number.
So I'll tell you a little story. And Ryan already knows this story. So we were at the Loan Signing System conference, and and this was in August.
Was it Nick?
It was Nick.
Oh my gosh! Shout out to Nick Fry.
So I go, I meet Nick, and Ryan's right next to me, and Nick is a signing agent out in San Diego. And he, starts telling me, I do a lot of work out in San Diego. And I asked him, I'm like, oh, let me look you up on Signing Order. I'm going to put you as a preferred. Mm-hmm. And so while he's standing there, I put in his name, I put in his zip code, and he had like 300, almost 400 signings and no reviews, no black marks, nothing. And I was like, damn, Nick. I go, you're like a unicorn. I go, what the heck? I definitely added him to my preferred list. And he was like, what? I don't have any reviews at all? I'm like, no, that's great. That's great. Like, people love using you, so that's amazing. And he and I think he's done one signing for me since then, maybe one or two, maybe, I don't know. But 300 and something, like so 360 something. It was crazy.
It's not a bad thing to not have any reviews. And the thing is, notaries don't know what their reviews are. You will not see that. Only signing services will see that in all the databases for notaries.
Correct.
Okay. So.
And, just for the new notaries that are out there, one of the things that I see as a signing service owner, which is super unfortunate, is a lot of signing services are putting bad reviews when notaries are simply asking for more money. And when I do see that, it does not deter me from using that notary. If they ask for more money, most likely that signing service was lowballing them, and they decided to go write a bad review, which, as a signing service owner, we shouldn't be taking advantage of our position and putting those bad reviews when they never even worked for them.
I would say that's a conversation for another episode, is the power that signing services have when it comes to just leaving reviews that can alter people's job. Yeah. You don't, and the thing is, there's no regulation on leaving a comment as a signing service for that person to have been used, through your company. They could just pick a random notary. Oh, this person's fantastic. Oh, yep. This person's terrible.
Yep.
Blacklist that one. There's no regulation on it. So I would say,
and I do have a story about something that personally happened to me. So we'll definitely talk about that at the next one.
Yeah, for sure. So, I guess the recap, trusting yourself. When you know you need to do something, go do that thing and trust that you're good enough to do it.
Yep.
Whether that's marketing, visiting that title service, the title company that gave you the job, go visit them. Say, hey, may I meet? And we're going to have Julio on board eventually, but may I meet Julio? I did some jobs for him, and I just wanted to meet him face-to-face and tell him thank you. Bring him something. This is a marketing tip, by the way. You go in, and Julio happens to be at the office. Hey, Julio, could you introduce me to the rest of your team here at your building? And then, boom, you got face-to-face. But when you know you need to trust yourself, do that thing. And then if you make an error, fix it. It's not difficult. Shouldn't be difficult. Title signing services love to hear that you're willing to fix the error that you made. And like my mom was saying, that's not going to deter you from future business. It cannot,
No, not at all.
And then the last thing was
reputation.
Yeah, and reputation is very important as a new notary and as an existing notary. Having a good reputation just means you're sustainable,
Yep.
So there you have it, everybody. Thank you. If you made it this far, thank you. It's been such a long process to even get here and sit here, talk, have the crew, everything. It's been such a journey, and
a huge shout out to my son.
Oh yeah.
For putting all of this together and getting the team and just working his butt off to make this happen.
Yeah, it's been a long process. Not stressful by any means, up until the moment where I'm like, oh, you know what? There's not too much that we could script if we want it to sound natural. That is what's nerve-wracking, is just trusting the process. But I'm going to take my own advice and trust myself. But yeah, that is the closure. That is episode 1 of Notary Disrupt. And I do want to give you guys a closing statement, or some closure, I would say, and just letting you guys know how the show's going to be formatted and how we're going to release episodes and what that's going to look like here at Notary Disrupt. So for us, this is a pilot. This is a very unique episode. We should have Christmas hats on because this will be released on December 1st, but we're busy. It's kind of tough to even get here. Like an hour drive almost. But yeah, I mean, for the next episodes coming up, there's none that are going to be like this. Almost roundtable conversations will be like this, just us talking, but not as much of an interview situation like this between me and my mom. So episode format 1 is going to be listener Q&As. Every Monday, first Monday of the month will be an episode of us answering your guys' questions. So you guys will submit questions, and then we'll ask you for an audio version of you asking the questions. We'll play it here, listen to it, and then answer. And we'll just have a conversation based off every single question. And then there's going to be roundtable conversations between me and my mom, just talking about the business, marketing strategies, do's and don'ts, tips and tricks. I mean, there's so much to talk about. My mom's TikTok is a huge, just good reference to how much content can be made on the notary industry. And there's so much to talk about. Oh my God, I could go on forever. And then the last episode type will definitely be those interviews for you guys to see how real estate professionals just think, we'll just have conversations with them about, what they want to see or how they got started, and just have conversations with these people that we know, hopefully you guys would gain value out of just hearing, if you're new, just what an escrow officer thinks, just their thought process, a real estate agent, or even other notaries, who knows. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for listening. Thank you. If you guys made it this far.
Thank you.
Yes. So in the show notes, of course, will be all of our social media links. There will be a form also. In that form, it's just a Google form. I want you guys to let us know what you guys are going to do today to help yourself disrupt that limiting belief that you have when it comes to scaling and growing your business as a notary. We'll love to read what you guys, if we inspire you, what you guys will be doing. So, with that, thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Oh God, so much editing.
That was good, right?
For